And up next is the town manager report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two grant-like announcements tonight. Excuse me. The first is that we have been awarded $99,335 through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund program, which is funded through the Mass Clean Water Trust. These funds will be coupled with a local match of $59,565 to fund the asset management, inventory, and planning of our stormwater systems. So this is an extension of work that we have completed under a grant that we received in fiscal year '23, where we did asset management of the stormwater system and set up a framework to track the inspections that we need to do under the MS4 permit. So this funding will be used to continue analyzing the assets that we have, documenting their conditions, and providing a web-based analysis of the stormwater system. So this is all work that I'm sure Member Emke has heard a lot about, but in compliance with the MS4 permitting and stormwater requirements that we are pursuing. And I thank the DPW director for continuing to go after these funds. The next item is that the Cultural Council has been awarded $9,200 for this year. I have emailed the chair of the council to schedule a meeting so that I can understand the council's local priorities and also assist in advertising when they are getting their grants out. I'm not sure how we've done it in the past, but sometimes cultural councils just need a little help letting people know that they have funds, and if you have a project, they can be funded if it meets the local priorities. Reminder, tomorrow, the Munis financial system will be undergoing a scheduled upgrade as we migrate to the cloud. So online financial transactions will be available during this time, but there will be no in-person financial transactions tomorrow at Town Hall. Services should resume as normal on Tuesday, and messaging has been put out on the website and social media.
So tomorrow and Thursday?
I'm sorry, tomorrow is only Wednesday. It is only on Thursday.
Okay. Okay.
It is Thursday, not tomorrow. So there's one more day if you'd like to pay in person.
And Friday?
Well, Friday, we're closed.
Friday,
Still,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
Still, okay.
It will be migrating still on Friday, right?
Okay.
With the election coming to a conclusion and upcoming appointed terms coming to a conclusion, we're working with our IT vendor to wind down existing email accounts and to create new accounts for folks, and we will also be updating the website accordingly. This is a process. We have only so many licenses, and we need to take the licenses from some, store their information, and reapportion it or reallocate it to another user. And we're doing this priority-based and also as boards are meeting and whatnot. So it's a process, and we're not doing it before people are sworn in either. So next is that we are beginning to start the process of getting all of the select board licensing onto OpenGov. I have a meeting next week with Brian Gingras, who's going to be helping with that process. And so the plan is to have all of our licensing fully online by the fall renewal season. So
That is fantastic.
I know,
It
that is
is
so
so
exciting. Yeah.
it is so exciting.
Sorry, can I ask a question before you move to the next thing? Will that include updating our forms and everything that we have, or is
Yeah.
that going to be a secondary, or?
Well, the forms become embedded as like a web form.
Right.
Right.
So we're not
So the
the whole thing.
Yeah.
So no
Great.
old like documents that look like they've been scanned and photocopied and
Several times over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
very exciting. And hopefully, I mean, we have, a lot of our businesses are local, but there's, we have corporate entities that have a franchise here in town, and that can be exceedingly difficult for them when they have to come in and renew their licenses through the paper process. So, all right, project updates. The work on Ritter Roof is going as anticipated. The slate has been completed, as I reported last week, and they're really working on the trim now, but there's no surprises so far. Oh, okay. And we are starting to plan for the partial decommissioning of the TC Passios building. So Facilities Director Chris Ruth is spearheading these efforts. Department heads, if you're watching this, you're getting a highlight at what's at the meeting next week. Department heads are going to be given the target of June 30th to purge all their old files, anything that can be purged, get rid of it, and then to label and organize what will be retained, because all of that is moving. Those 4 rooms of files have to move out of that old section. The school department will be vacating the building over the summer months. Then, after that occurs, the rooms that PAC will be going into, their electrical system needs to be upgraded for their needs. That will be done, and then Chris is setting up the other shutdown of the electrical system in the portion of the building that will be decommissioned, shutting down the water, the sprinkler system, and installing a firewall and door, firewall and fire door. The goal is to complete the decommissioning of that portion of the building prior to the heating season.
Where is PAC moving to? Where's their new room?
Well, this,
Rooms.
so school's moving.
Right.
All their, so he showed me the diagram. It's in, they viewed and they picked a couple of rooms, and there's 2 rooms that they have picked that,
Don't have any water yet, or,
what, like water leaking?
yeah.
No, no.
I said yet,
Yeah, she did.
yeah.
Well, the other, about TC Passios, and you bringing this up, this is something that we discussed a little bit during kind of the capital planning process and a little bit in the budget, but there was funding, I don't think I discussed it with this board. So there was funding at the fall special town meeting for repairs to TC Passios roof. And that was very specifically for the portion of the building that we're decommissioning. So you can anticipate to see a future warrant article that's brought to the town meeting to move those funds to the portion of the building that remains.
It was clearly identified in the article.
It was very clearly identified, and in the presentation made at town meeting, it was very clearly identified that it was for that portion of the building. So,
Was it like,
so in full transparency to voters, we'll bring it back for another vote. But, so there's funding there for roof repair, if voters approve it to be moved.
it was like 300,000?
Yeah, yes.
Over 3, yeah, okay.
What town meeting was that approved at? I don't.
I think the fall
It's
special.
Yeah,
I thought it was even,
Further?
I thought it was when Heather was still here originally.
maybe. I don't know. We'd have to look, but,
I thought it was the fall special, but
yeah.
I could,
Regardless.
regardless.
Okay.
So that's the goal, is to shore up that part of the building, that there's potential long-term use of that part of the building.
And putting in a firewall is enough, I mean, know nothing about fire safety, but that's enough, according to code and everything else, to
Yep.
decommission the
Yep.
building?
Well,
To turn the sprinkler systems off and everything?
sprinkler systems and all the electric, and Chris has been working closely with the fire chief to understand all of what the requirements will be.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a absolutely coordinated
Yeah.
effort. Anything else on TCP? Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of movement over there. There's a lot of moving around. There's a lot of designs for what we could do with the space. We're trying to do the core movements first, and then let's see where the dust settles.
Once you have that done, you know, where the movements are gonna be, can we have some sort of a diagram? Or
Sure.
have something brought forward so that we can
Yeah,
see
that's-
it, but also show the people, you know, what it's gonna look like? you know,
Right.
What it is now, and what it's gonna look like?
Sure.
Yeah, good idea.
All right. And we had funding from prior capital for Wallace Park Courts resurfacing. The facilities director is preparing that scope of services now so that we can get that bid out. We're hoping to get that project completed before the fall so that we can do it this year. Otherwise, we can't do resurfacing once the weather gets cold. And lastly, for project updates, the assistant town manager is starting to work with department heads now who had capital projects approved at the annual town meeting in getting ready for when we can go out to bid. So the goal here is to be proactive, that we're ready to hit the street on July 1st for as many bids as possible, and hopefully be a little bit ahead of others who also just went through the town meeting and have projects hitting the street, right? So that is the update on projects. Recruitment, we have the administrative assistant for planning, that's Logan's position, 36 hours per week, that's posted, applications are starting to come in. Anticipated start date for that position is July 1st. We held interviews yesterday for the 10-hour-a-week conservation position,
That's good.
and I believe we will be checking references this week and sending out an offer if the references are good. Recording clerk and secretaries for various boards and committees. We have a whole host of folks scheduled for interviews for a number of different boards and committees that need recording clerks. When we interview people this week for this position, there is a small amount of money and a small amount of time, specifically in the select board budget due to the vacancy that we have there, that I'm going to see if folks are interested in working in